Out here in the desert, man, anything's possible. That's why I moved out here. You gotta free your mind.
Okay.
If you know me, you know I have a certain way of working with others and introducing them to the nonsense in my head. Johnny's a good friend and a longtime fraternizer of the crazy. Super creative, always fun to work with. And I got this project that is right up his alley. I don't actually know what we're building yet, but I got some ideas. So this might look familiar to you.
Yes.
But it's not what you think it is.
It's a bug. What do you mean it's not what I think it is?
But it's not a bug.
It's not a bug? That looks like a bug to me.
Yes, but it's not gonna be. You kind of have a take on things like no one I've ever worked with. You got that unique cartoon brain. So this is just a start. I don't want it to be a bug. I want it to be some custom cartoon hot rod. We played twice with Volkswagens.
Yeah.
And I want it to be a little different.
Okay.
I want supercalifragilistic expialidocious. That's what I'm looking for this time.
Okay.
Of course, I have some things in mind, but I don't want to reveal all my cards just yet. I want to get Johnny thinking. We've been around the block a few times. I'm looking for new territory, but it's got to start somewhere. And I know I want this windshield down low, like maxed out. Like when you see this thing coming down the road, you're like,
dang, what is that?
Or what's wrong with that guy? And I got a bunch of saw blades. Let's get to it.
I gotta say, it's pretty darn satisfying to be cutting that up.
You know what the hard part is?
Putting it back together?
Exactly. You got $1? You got any money?
What do you want $1 for?
Dollar bill, yo.
I got a 5.
That works for me. Thanks. See the man at the door. I'll show you the
It's the oldest magician trick in the book.
I want to make the windshield the old dollar bill trick. That much.
Okay.
I don't know where the dollar bill windshield size ever came from, but I can only think that I heard of it at some car show. The old guys talking about a chop. Man, that was so radical. His windshield was smaller than a dollar bill. You got a dollar bill size windshield, right? Somewhere in that direction. It's pretty interesting to look out of. You're not seeing a lot. You go smaller than that. That's where I want to be. That's pretty substantial chop. That's not messing around.
I mean, it looks freaking cool.
I think I want to see it with the mystery element, the thing you weren't expecting.
Okay, what is that?
Aha!
What is that?
It's a shower stall.
Looks like an amusement park ride.
I really like to fill my collaborators with confusion and deprive them of the common sense methods of car fabrication.
What is this thing again?
I don't know, it's out in the desert. It's got charisma, right?
It could be something.
It's a fine piece of fiberglass, is it not?
This is the classic thing that Ian does. He'll bring in some weird thing and go, hey, Johnny, what are we doing with this?
I'll rotate the top forward.
Okay. Part of me was kind of hoping for another bubble. Bubbles are cool. That isn't cool, at least from what I can tell.
What's with all the chuckling? I'm serious now.
No, I'm just saying this is, yeah.
What part of this don't you understand?
Oh, man. It's either, yeah. Why should I have thought anything else would happen? This is, okay. Let's see, what are we doing?
Yeah, baby, yeah. So now sit back and look at this. Does it look like a bug anymore?
No.
Oh no, soldier down. We're losing Johnny. I better reel him back before we veer too far off course. Here, this might sweeten the deal a little. These are a little bigger than the stock bug rims.
Yeah. Those are fatties.
I said it before, I said it a million times. There's nothing like the wheel and tire combo to shine that guiding light on any project.
Yeah, okay, hold on. Maybe.
We're stacking parts, it's starting to have a feeling.
Fenderless, I like the wide tire. Or are we doing fenders?
We're 3 steps into this. I already fleeced you for $5. Let's not rush things.
It's very true.
We still got to change everything.
Right.
But other than that, we're on a pretty good course. Ladies and gentlemen, we've taken the first step in a journey of 1,000 miles. Next stop, Envisioning Central. That's our windshield, sir.
I think it looks perfect.
The windshield height is pretty much where we're at. So just getting that in place, do we like that front view? All right, let's move on. The big benefit of fiberglass in this project is we're going to be able to build, cut back, without ever actually having like a final surface represented for just about till the end of the project. So just envisioning all the time. And I love the wedge chop in the door frame now.
Right?
We'll jig it up, we can glass it right there. And once it's one piece again, we can always shift it a little bit more. But I see a couple big hurdles to jump with the back of this car. This is pretty complex. Let me cut a few strips of metal and then we'll clamp this.
Okay.
This is where this design will depart from that 30s styling, which was very sensible, you know, very glamorous. We have all of these shapes that have been formed. We're moving them around and they're gonna have to be reoriented. The way that the tires will be arranged with the fender lip. This is going into that edgy, weird, like definitely looking forward from the 1930s. Interesting how messy that all looks. To create this armature, like the old suit of armor with the faceted panels, the whole idea is creating a compound curve in the simplest terms. That way we can lay this fiberglass on and keep it suspended while it cures. Another fine mess you've gotten us into, Johnny.
Dude.
That is substantial. That's a 6-inch wider fender.
When you started doing it, I'm like, what do you, I don't, how's it gonna work?
Interesting. What you can do with some foil tape, an old fender, 500,000 screws, and some spray paint. I want to do all the fiberglass in the same realm, you know, the same time period. Let's mock up this front. I got a pretty wild idea for the front, but the flared fenders are definitely a part of it.
This whole time, the way we've been looking at this, I'm like, what are we gonna do at the front? What's going on here?
Time's upon us. I gotta spill the beans and reveal the rest of my mystery elements. Ta-da!
Yeah, that's just Volkswagen. I thought we were getting the Volkswagen out of it.
You know that saying where like, how can you find your mind unless you've lost it first?
Okay.
So how can you build something that's not a Volkswagen without having a Volkswagen first? Now, I know what you're saying. As much of a timeless classic design and just what more could you want out of that VW front end? I want a little different. Check this out. I got these. First piece is from Speedway.
Here we finally get a piece of hot rod parts that we're gonna put on this thing. Now we're going where I was hoping we were gonna go.
Now, does that look like a PT Cruiser? No. Does it look like a Volkswagen Bug? No. You know, I want this thing to be like total departure from the Bug look. Look how it fits the curve of the VW.
It does, I mean, it does have some really cool shaping to it. I mean, this really does, the flow of this really flows with what we've created.
The same sedan delivery, it had this hood, which is a totally different style. But I just chopped the top of this off. See, these two, they could be spliced to go together. It could work. This is why I never showed Johnny or talked to him about changing the grill, because I wanted this kind of wake-up call, right? He's like, where is this going? That's what I was looking for. I don't know, Johnny, you tell me.
That definitely goes more towards that old sedan delivery look that we kind of captured in the back.
Yeah, exactamento. Now she's setting in place. How do you feel about that? We got these fenders. Let's splice them in and figure out how it's gonna work. Because right now it does. It looks like a Volkswagen with a grill stuffed on the front.
Right.
And I ain't got time for that.
The more we cut out of it, the cooler it starts to look.
Both of these can just kind of be like masked right on there for now.
All right. There's the beauty of all this customization is stuff is happening organically on its own that's showing up.
What if there were no headlights? Like, just close your eyes and imagine.
I like that idea.
I don't know, just seeing those shapes wrapped around. What if those big, graceful, curving fenders, like, were just, you didn't even have those headlight eyebrows?
Yeah.
During this process, one cannot be swayed by the ability to see in the dark. You know, it's like, does it look good or doesn't it? There's always a workaround.
Cut it!
Section A were to flow with segment B.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm totally down with no headlights. I'm like, yeah, eliminate all the headlights. No headlamps whatsoever.
Here, open this.
And then he hands me headlights.
Look at that gem. We can go multiple directions with this headlight situation. We're just gonna keep it on and see what happens. You know, the initial layout is here. That's what I asked you to come by for, like the concept, right? I needed that cartoon brain to work with me. And I mean, this thing's way out of proportion. You know, I'm gonna put my twist on a few things, but I think Johnny and I have a strong representation of where this is going.
It's the funnest part of collaborating with you is just bringing out these crazy ideas.
I knew that your time was gonna be pretty strict, and you see the amount of work it takes time-wise just to mock up what we did.
Right.
So
I like everything about it. I just don't like the fact I have to leave.
I think you should feel a lot better that you don't have to stay for the remainder of this.
Why, sure.
Quite frankly, I'll go to Florida,
Yeah.
I'll put on my work clothes, and you can handle all this. Don't take off that thinking cap just yet. We're getting in deep now. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Fiberglass is a messy business. Working on our concepts, it starts with this, you know, steel strip mock-up structure. Start adding fiberglass, then go right into this heavy kitty hair, they call it, body filler. It's a long procedure. If you've done body work, you know it. Love this gigantic grill. It's a pretty radical design. I don't know if anybody else sees it, but I could see something, and I like it. There's two things that are really bugging me, and did I say bugging me? There's two things that are bothering me. There's no bug in this project. To me, these two bulges, you know, it's showing the VW hood. I think the next thing to do is get out the old saw and do some work. The VW is this bulbous hood coming down, and the Ford is very straightforward going into the grille. So this area where the VW meets the Ford, it's all gonna get cut out. So there's your problem right there. I think I'm going right for the cut on both sides. As if I didn't have enough sanding to do. You can just see what it's got to do. See that? Matches this curve, and that's going to roll right in. It always looks so raw in the mock-up. Here, it's a very tight curve. It's going to be something more in that realm. And instead of trying to lay all this out, it's going to start to distort these two. So I think I'm going to create a drape of fiberglass. So this hood will come straight down and then just come in and create that curve. So my time weaving baskets in the Polynesian Islands given me this skill. Sometimes I'll do it in a herringbone pattern. It all depends how I'm feeling. This is your standard Easter basket pattern. A lot of times I'll lay the fiberglass on the car and then brush it in. But in this case, there's really nothing to push against. It's just gonna deform that web. So that's why the first piece I'm gonna wet right here and just hang it in place. See, these are just like stickers at this point. Man, I get so much flack about how I do fiberglass. Apparently I'm doing something that's a little outside of the average. They scoff at my technique. It's really satisfying to see this radical departure from that VW hood. You know, that looked good, this looks gooder. So once this is rebuilt, this gets popped off, turned upside down, and all the stuff in there gets torn out. So it's just a one-piece fiberglass, as it was, as it should be. So So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10 pieces to make this front clip. I feel like it needs something to tie it together. So everything about the styling from the late 30s, pretty much the VW followed with it, right? You had running boards on the car. Very reminiscent to that period of style. You know, it's the bubble fenders front and back, and then a big pronounced running board where the door jamb opens. So this car's got to follow suit. My first thought is let's continue that running board idea, but let's just bring them way out. I don't want it to be a hard bend. I want it to radius down. So it has that same kind of waterfall effect as the rest of the car, down, down. The challenge here is to keep this graceful, curvy flow through the whole design of the car. It's the story of my life. I want an end result, and I can't get there without just figuring it out. So nothing like some old school metal forming. Whatever it takes, by all means necessary. Try something. Told you it's got some force. Back in 3rd grade when I used to cut school, they used this thing and taught me a lesson. I like that. So by using the wood to the wood, you don't have the real power to dent the metal. Just goes to show you, sometimes those 3rd grade punishments pay off. Now we're getting somewheres. I mean, look at the dimension now when you're looking at it. It's got dementia. Hey, sometimes you just luck out. This is exactly what I was envisioning. So fiberglass doesn't bond to steel very well. So usually what I do is I'll drill these holes through here, scuff it up really good. I'll laminate to it, and then later on the underside, bond it like that, almost like a plug weld. I don't even know if this works, but you can consider it another tip from Honest Ian's fiberglass service. I like the nostalgia. I like the fact that Ed Roth built a lot of cars like this. And again, that's the real beauty of this stuff. It's not rocket science. You can try this at home. These running boards really tied both sides together. The front to the rear, they got the same thing now. There's really something that I'm considering. It's kind of a big deal. It could be the make it or break it moment for this project. Been making some progress. You know, the filling out of the running board area under the doors totally works. Johnny and I were talking about the chop top on this. We laid that roof panel in place, and it was all kind of up in the back. I brought it down a few inches. And that level, you know, it looked better. So I started to get into that door frame, and I slanted the B-pillar. You know, it has that type of Merc lead sled feel to it. I went that route and really just started thinking, you know, in the look of it, like, could it be different? Could it be better? Is this really what I'm building? A station wagon? One thing I really love is I'm not afraid to change my mind about things. This is the way I roll. Like, no matter how deep you get, I'm always open to it. Like, well, what if, you know? I had to take the fiberglass roof cap off to do all this structure. It's way easier to reach in and do the welding and whatnot. Man, when I took the fiberglass roof off, it was a whole different car. I looked at the car and I was like, that thing looks fast. It looks so different. That big shape up here was not doing anything for the car. Look at this, like coupe roof. You know, it's almost like a Zephyr where it comes up and then bubbles up again. I forgot that I left the rear window frames in place. And when I looked at that with the slanted B-pillar, I was kind of knocked out. I wasn't expecting it. One thing I know is you can always go backwards on things, right? I just got this itch that needs scratching. The van roof, the wagon thing, it looks pretty cool, but what if? I had this idea, a revelation. This is a Dodge. I think it's about a 37, 38, 39, I don't know. And when I saw it, of course, I fell in love with this, you know, the giant sloping back They're always my favorite body styles. I love this split window. It's a pretty unique vehicle. I don't want to do measuring. I don't want to do thinking about nothing. I want to cut this apart, place it on that bug. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Either way, if it doesn't fit that car, this car is on its way to a fresh chop top. It's a win-win. You might not believe me when I say I don't take a lot of measurements, but I don't really take a lot of measurements. That's how I roll. It's crazy how a car this big looks all structure, like a battleship, but it's just flimsy sheet metal in these elaborate arched shapes. Look at that thing. Ooh, it looks like a ghost ship. All right, all my grandiose ideas have led up to this. What we have here is considered a clean slate. Anything could happen from this point. That's nasty. That's just looking for trouble, this car. Holy guacamole. I think the Dodge designers had some inspiration from them VW designers. It's a match. A little of this, a little of that. I mean, look at this, right? Bang. Talk about a natural. Do you see the way that this convoluted brain works? Now, can you finally understand why I can't sleep at night? This came out way cleaner than I ever thought it would. Literal shot in the dark, right? It's a perfect fit. I gotta tell you, this Dodge roof was a pretty solid donor. After all the trimming and fitting and everything, you can see, look at this contour. You know, it's still just very roughly tacked in place. You really notice it with the chop now. See this hard kind of transition? The VW dome comes up. It's a lot more in this area. This broad, flat plane really adds to the chopped look of the whole thing. Next step is making that connection between the back windows and the roof skin to the deck lid. Got a good start on it, just got to connect the dots. I've been using this same process of these strips through the whole project, and it works pretty well for this part of it too, even though this is all steel and getting welded together. To create this in one piece of steel would be pretty complex without a buck or anything to work off of, so using these strips, it allows me to create this flowing surface from this very flat glass into the deck lid, but then blend down so you have that waterfall effect that you see on all the Art Deco cars, you know. This roof swap might have been way late in the game, but I think it's much better for it. I just don't want to hear a bunch of PT Cruiser jokes. That's what it comes down to. So we got this as well. This is the original VW vent. It already makes the sound like it belongs there. Sometimes offering up different parts doesn't really flow with the project per se. Custom might not always be the best answer. Reimagining some of the factory stampings kind of helps it flow a bit better. Decisions. See, these are flat, right? So it's like, if I put louvers there, it's gonna mess with the overall flow of that line, guaranteed. You got that when you want. What if it was up here? I would say it, but it goes without saying. That settles it. Let's get out the cutting materials. Part of using these stock vents also adds to the mystique. It's like, I don't identify that rear window as VW, but the vents are just like a VW. What's going on there? Aha! I will remove one worthless piece of sheet metal and replace it with another worthless piece. Ta-da! That's what I'm looking for. That works. This is where the fusion really takes place. You got the clearly identifiable VW vents in the same position as they would be on the Bug, but with a Dodge back window and roof. This is coming in. This looks a little bulgy now. I could tailor this, and that's really what I'm getting to is the final bits of modifications. Having this roof at such a different attitude So all of a sudden, the nose looks gigantic. The nose looks like it's pointing up into that sky. Again, it's not something I saw until I saw it. It's like the hood is like that, and the rest of the car is like that. Needs to be a happy medium. One of those big points from the mock-up with Johnny was this kind of shark nose appearance that the hood is having. It's always been kind of up, kind of snooty, and I want it to look a little down. That's exactly where this needed to go. Just a little bit down. This project's been a good example of the adaptability of fiberglass forming. Aha! We literally threw the kitchen sink and a bunch of other stuff at it and, glued it all together to a refined finish. With everything pulled out from underneath, no one else will know what happened, except you and I. Pretty much it. I think I'll just do a little fill-in and undercoat these. Once I got the underneath cleaned out, I got the exterior refined, and this thing's looking like a whole different specimen. This is the point I was trying to get to. All that thought, the radical change from the station wagon to this, I am stoked. I think this typifies like my style, right? It's cartoony, it looks like a big toy. Got these radical proportions. I mean, dare I say, it's got a bit of a street rod feel to it, It's all smooth, there's no fender welt, it's all blended together, there's no drip rails. It looks like a big plastic car. It is a big plastic car, who am I kidding? It's low, it's nose down. It's almost not a Volkswagen. The hardest part with this entire project was right in here. You'd see how flat the Dodge roof gets. I needed this to bunch up so that the engine fit in there. So I came up with this kind of panel. It kind of goes down, and then you see the trunk lid area. But I wanted this impossible kind of wedge-shaped rear. The case of these rear vents is a clear example of kind of winging it. When you change one thing, you change everything, so you got to adapt as you go. A lot of people probably be asking, why is there only one door handle? Because this is invitation only. You want entry? Hello? We just freestyled the whole deal. I had this scrap VW Bug, this kooky artist from the East Coast. I was like, hey man, let's figure it out. Naturally, two big shout outs are in order, right? This does not happen solo. Johnny Jalopy came in and slammed it, got that concept and all the creative elements flowing. Alan Banuelos, the unsung hero, the dude with the 36 grit, 80, 120, 200 hours? I don't know, all it took. A nice little weekend project to just pass some time with a friend. And here we are, no fingertips. 500,000 sheets of sandpaper. We finished the bodywork. We put a good coat of primer with a little color tint in it just to give it a little flair. Mocked up the windows, got the lights in place. The stance, that's on for me. Pretty tasty. This is just another example of the universe that we're creating here. Why not? Why can't you make a lowrider, street rod, Volkswagen from another dimension? I really want to take my time with this. This thing's going into cold storage for a bit, but it's not going to sit there long. Get on to a couple other projects and visit this later. My good buddy Victor said he's got a project and he'd like to bring it over. Now, this door-to-door delivery's got me a little suspicious right out of the gate. This isn't the first time Victor's shown up with a pile of parts, but the urgency seems a bit new and invigorated.
Surprise.
Right? It is a surprise. I see some stuff I recognize, but some stuff I don't.
It's a Volkswagen pan, and I'm not a Volkswagen guy.
You know I am. He's brought it to the right place.
That's why it's here. Me and Hector were playing with it a little because I wanted some other kind of roadster or something, but with Ian's touch, the Ed Roth feel and his space junkie vibe.
Yes, sir.
I said, who better could put this puzzle together and make it look cool?
I think you're looking for an excuse to get some extra sheet metal out of your yard, but hey, you came to the right place. Clearly, the tables have turned. Normally, I'm the one that's pitching all the crazy ideas, cardboard, masking tape, all the envisioning tools. Here it comes. Even in my backyard, the world works in mysterious ways. I see your envisioning tools are hard at work, It's just a wedge, just straight up looking like a log splitter almost. Just something comes straight down to a sharp blade in the front, huh?
This is your name written on it. I mocked this up mainly so I could get my space of where the interior was gonna go and that I fit in it. This here, to me, feels right. The rest is whatever you think. I got some extra parts. If you could use them, you use them.
Always with Victor's pile of parts, I'm seeing things that I recognize, but he's always got that wild card he throws in. I never know when it's gonna strike. It needs just about everything, but I'm not sure how that Metropolitan body translates to this exotic shape you're describing. I think these little Metropolitans are awesome cars. It's just like for customization potential, there's not really a lot going on there, but hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Sleep on it, let the stars affect you out here, and you'll feel it.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has a dream, and the knucklehead to fall through with it. Put this thing back in the shop, and I gotta say, this is a super loose mock-up, probably one of the loosest we've ever started from, but he said I have free reign, right? That's what I heard. So I'm gonna do what I think needs to be done. I love the idea of building a concept from nothing. Victor pretty much came in, made a bold statement, and dropped the mic. He's like, that's your job. So we can reference that should we need to. All I've ever wanted to do is just build my own stuff, so Victor's showing me that opportunity. All right, we got this mouse trap out of the way. He's talking about these rims, 22-inch diameter rims on a Volkswagen. Let's just see. Take a moment to digest the possibilities. I'm not 100% feeling those rims. I'm not opposed to big diameter wheels, but something about the stagger, right? You want big in the back, little in the front. That's the hot rod flavor. Looking a little like a roller skate at this point. Victor likes big rims and he cannot lie. Now we're getting somewhere. Helps, we're trying to hide that engine, so we're trying to pack as much material around that as possible. Those rims do just that. Wheelbase is way too short. Close together or far apart or just right. See what I'm saying? Right now it's got the Mr. Peabody look. It's kind of like really close together. Smaller wheels would appear farther apart. This is the beginning of a delicate dance. Stacking parts, arranging parts, moving them around, and at this point, your guess is as good as mine. See, when I saw the Metropolitan body, I knew I wanted to wedge the front of it down to get it as low as possible, and man, it's got that kind of a wedge shape already. I know the wheelbase is gonna be longer. How much longer, I have no clue. As much as I like that tire centered in the fender well, I think the back of the car should move as far forward as possible. Tuck it right to that engine, I think. It's the moment of truth. Weirdo-rama. Oh no. That is kooky. All of a sudden, it looks really, really tall at this point with that fin stuck on there. Let's see if we can make this door hinge and look as low as possible. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Look how big that quarter panel is. Without that tire on, whew, that wasn't gonna work. Aha! There's a tire in there. I can't stand it. First I didn't like the rims, now I'm all goosey. This style rim might win me over after all. Having a body panel next to this wheel, it's like, whoa, wait a second. Yeah, that's hot rod. Proportions everything, and looking at that taillight hanging off the back end, I'm like, ooh, we gotta tighten that up a bit. This is what's gonna sell the back end of the car, in my opinion. I'm really happy with the door, the tire, and the bobbed off back end. This fin is coming down, coming forward, and then again, our axle being somewhere out here, I'm assuming. Maybe furtherer, I don't know, but that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna replicate this exact measurements to the other side and then carry on with the front and the back. Even though we only have a half a car presented, I feel like we're leaning in the right direction. And even if we're not, we're only half wrong, right? Diced up that whole Nash Metropolitan and it worked out great. I just mimicked the driver's side with the passenger side and put in a bunch of structure. I made this cool little curved backrest. Got some representation of what the back of this bucket area that you sit in is. It's feeling good. At this point in the process, my focus is on getting the front of that car as low as possible. The Volkswagen Beam with its stacked tubes was not going to afford that super low look, so I called in some reinforcements. I ordered a 6-inch drop axle from Speedway. This is your typical hot rod setup. Disc brakes, rack and pinion steering. It's not a Volkswagen, Victor. We're hiding all that business. When people look at this, they'll be like, wait, something doesn't add up. There's usually a big V8 engine sitting right here. Not this time. Literally, the hood height can be right here. That's super low. Volkswagen and the hot rod, they gotta meet up. I got a plan. It involves some of this. It's from another project, that crazy trike thing. Piece of the leftover chassis, it's super strong. Oh, I gotta get back in the gym. This is envisioning central right here, and look how close this perch is to that body line. I like that. This is what I was seeing when he showed me that wedge silhouette. It's like extremely low in the front. And when I saw it on the VW, I was like, man, it just doesn't work. You got these two shocks coming way up. This is gonna work. I mean, usually we talk about like, oh, waist-high car, knee-high car. Now that's a toy. I think this wheelbase is perfect. I want to get this thing into like a roller status and then consider what's happening with the body. Looking at Victor's mock-up and looking what we have here, I'm seeing a straight shot on an angle, front to back, right to the front spindles. Cheese biscuit has an angle. It's sharp cheddar. I think for right now, I'm gonna bolt these heim joints right to the pan just to get some kind of a reference. To all those that say I don't even have a tape measure, well, I found it and I'm using it. This is one of the only times in life where it's hip to be square. That's a win. See? Nice big rainbow bridge. And what does every rainbow have buried inside? Mounting hardware, of course. Boom. Of course, that structure is going to get a bunch more strength. This was just to get the axle in position so I can set up this sheet metal. So it's all got to kind of come together. So I want to keep the center perch of the chassis super narrow. I think the body's going to be somewhere in here like this, right to there. The way that I'm feeling is not only do we want this wedged down from top to bottom like Victor presented, I want the both sides coming in. I want it more like a chisel point. The look here is pure speed, you know, like the tip of a lightning bolt, right? Fast. That defining rib in the lower portion of the door, I'm gonna try to mimic that. It's 2 blank sheets and then just take a look. So see, that's approximate. Then you can see how it radiuses down from there. Put a little hoo-ha in it. Trim this off. That looks pretty good. That's our gauge. That all started when I was learning to make gutters for houses. You could see that this could easily be turned into a gutter shape. So some people, like the wealthy, they wanted a special shaped gutter. Seriously. So they said, oh, I drew this design, and now how do you do that? That's how I did that. Sometimes it just shows you can work yourself out of the gutter. You could be somebody. So easy to continue stacking until it looks like an overweight mess, right? I've always taken the opposite route and try to like sharpen it, refine it. A lot of times you end up with a much smaller interior than expected. Looks better already, baby. I hogged both of these cavities open, so it should give us a few more inches. Yep, it's pretty aggressive. Looks good from here. I think the choice to cut this floor pan into a triangle shape was the right one. I mean, looking at it from the nose now, it's got the flow. All the envisioning in a world really doesn't matter at this point. It's all about getting things in line and all the structure in. Goes from like thin body, and then the body comes in, it's just totally not a Volkswagen, something very different. But we aren't done yet. We both know that this concept has to be as complete as we can muster to prepare it for the arrival of the master enhancer. Like they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think Victor really didn't have a lot of expectations coming into this. Like, he had a concept, and like, I think he's along for the ride.
You nailed it. I mean, who in their right mind, the way you continued the body line, so the whole side of the car is complete. It's awesome. I love the front end you put on this thing. The tires in the front, we almost need to do something like you did on the Space Junkie, something narrower.
That's what's bugging me also. It looks like it's got two giant mitts coming at you. Look how light the front of the car looks now.
I mean, look at that. You got a wedge coming right after you with wings coming out. So it's like, what the heck's this guy doing? It's got to be Ian stuff. I just need a little bit more beat, but I got what you're trying to tell me. There's your speedster, right?
For sure. There's something to be said for just falling into the groove. We're in line with the rims. We're in line with the general direction the body's taking, and I mean, just carry on.
I brought you all this stuff again. You know me, I'm a collector of fine art.
This is fine art. And no mock-up would be complete without Victor introducing an entire onslaught of new parts to add to the mix.
Use what you want. I got different kinds of headlights, tail light, grills and stuff. That's Pomona at its best.
I like what he's putting down here. You know, all these parts, they speak volumes, you know, atomic age, retro future, space travel. These are sweet. You even know what these are from?
No.
They're huge.
They're from Pomona, that's all I know.
Yeah. I'm not one to be completely upstaged by Victor. I'm always collecting stuff too, and I got a few things to throw in the mix as well. Check this out.
Wow. War of the Worlds, man. That's my favorite movie.
Right? Come on.
That'd be some good sunglasses for you. That's cool.
Right? Just raise them up maybe 3 or 4 inches. So the car's going so fast, right? You wouldn't be like going into the wind like that. You'd be like squinting, trying to go into the wind. I'm glad you love these headlights because I felt like that was going to solve it. You can work on the rims, but the issue with the hood, I'm seeing more of a rounded edge like you would see on most 50s cars, you know? Contour in here.
I got Zephyr hoods. I bring you one, you cut it to size, and you got your contour.
A Lincoln Zephyr hood is really a special part in the hot rod and custom world. You really can't get them. So to throw this in the mix is pretty daring. So you got your VW, you got your Metro, you got your Studebaker, you got your Speedway, and then you got your Zephyr. It's a magic number.
And the Edsel.
6. I like how this is stacking up. The part stash just keeps going and going. I mean, you talk about throwing in the kitchen sink. This is like the 1980s Honda spoiler on the trunk. He leaves nothing out for the trash. It's like some Star Trek lines right there.
Actually, it goes better that way.
Yeah, you're kind of freaking me out, man. My mind is spinning on this back end now. I got some concepts, but I want to come down to your place and pick up that hood because that, to me, it feels like a solution, the Zephyr hood.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Continue on that journey, because I'm with you.
This is music to my ears, you know, the synchronicity of ridiculousness. Victor is on track for success. This is exactly where I want it to be. I mean, look at the great shape. It's just not even triangular anymore. It's just like graceful, like a boat. I mean, Zephyr's a beautiful car. It's a good candidate for our butcher job. I am dying to put the front axle on this just to look, but we're not running those tires. The openings won't allow the radius arms to go in, but I mean, the body's shape to me, feeling it. There's still a big issue of missing car on the back of this project. The only thing that's in the way in the back is this fan shroud. I have to work around that, otherwise I could do anything I want. But I want something kind of exotic. The Nash Metropolitan is a very flat, draped piece of sheet metal. 54 Chevy has the same look, just a nice round deck lid. I was thinking maybe about that. I also remembered I had some VW Type 3 deck lids, so I put that on there. And it's like, well, that looks like the back of a car to me. It's got a cool shape to it. I think it needs something more than just that. Like, what does it do? Just go straight down in the back and then a couple taillights? That doesn't look very interesting to me. I want it to look like more exotic, you know? When you look at it from the back, it doesn't look like any other car. I had a lot of consideration about what to do on the back of this, you know? Anything goes, but what do I have on hand? I had another one of these, same unit, right? What if you just put them together like this? Look, they match. That's like the back bumper of a UFO, if I'm not mistaken. This is pure sculpture at this point. That's my favorite thing to do, so it only follows that that's all I think about 24/7, right? It just might work. I love how it's like a super exaggerated roll pan. I love the orientation of the fins and this curve right here. So it's coming in your eye, it's coming down and back up right here. We're talking about the wedge, right? So it's like from here to there. Just gotta come up a little bit more. I want this to raise high up enough to access the engine, etc. I want the whole back of the car to open. So I'm gonna come up with a little hinge plan, swinging from the stock mounting location on this deck lid. The nut gets welded to the car, and the deck lid swivels around it. Drum roll, please. Yeah, I mean, you have perfect access to the complete engine. This is gonna get cut back somewhere through here, so there's a lot of room to offer. Definitely cool. I'm gonna get rid of this right now, because that's bugging me. That thing's sticking out like a sore piece of sheet metal. Not really rocket science, it's deck lid science. I'm not gonna use much more than my knee bone. Like so. If you really want, I could turn this into a big formal production, right? I could get out the tubing bender, make some templates. I could even get the tape measure out, make it look really important. I saw the shape I needed. I had an extra knee laying around, so what the heck? Yeah, the taillights are pretty big aesthetic in what's happening back here. I think less towards the bottom of the car is better. Just gonna keep everything like focused on the wings. I think it's about time we busted into Victor's treasure trove. He brought in some real jewels, and I think this car could use some sparkle. You know, these are pretty tasty, but I feel like they're definitely horizontal. These are super space age, but I think they're just too big for those fins. Now, these little gems, and look at that. Does that not say flying spaceship thing? I think Victor knows that the key to all of our success so far has been his parts sourcing, and I gotta say, he knows how to pick them. That little baby set right in there. Something about the shape of these particular taillights, I think it's gonna really tidy up and refine the statement of the back end of this car. Did a little work on the rear of these fins. I extended them out, took some sheet metal and formed it to fit up these taillights just right. I felt like this little bulge in the fender here would just sort of terminate right at the taillight, and then it would just fall down in a very generic shape. Like that way it's pretty much open to whatever kind of flavor we want to add to it. There's something about, like, you know, the Martian's antennas, the way they're like that. I just felt like the taillights and the fins, like you had this like round shape with two like things coming off. I don't know, worked for me. Even though the majority of the back is defined, there's still a lot of holes in the rear portion. You know, it's kind of like the Swiss cheese biscuit, but we're going for more the mozzarella biscuit. It's sort of round, it's sort of triangle. So to just kind of make that flow with sheet metal, it's easier said than done. So I'm thinking I can utilize this rest of the Nash Metropolitan body. This is the front fender. It's got a bunch of good character lines in it. I think that's just gonna add a less generic flavor to it. This is the old joining of the Studebaker, Nash Metropolitan, and Volkswagen Type 3 Trek. Here we go. The first step is to create some kind of a line that transfers the taillight fin to the bottom of the car. In just looking at the back of the car, I'm seeing this horizontal band where the two deck lids joined, and I'm thinking that it may turn up into the flat plane of the taillights, so just trying to create a ridge that would lead into that feeling.
I said I want to make a Tesla right now and put this piece in.
You got one slice of pizza. Pepperoni. Because this is just a vacant space, I'm imagining the curve, the contour that'll blend around the corner into the wheel arch area. So I'm just looking around and choosing something that matches that contour in my mind. For me, I'm not a really good planner, but I'm a really good improviser, and this pretty much documents the process precisely. I'm just trying to follow the lay of the land. Yes. No plans, wing and a prayer. Voila. I love this dip in the Studebaker fin. It's got some more flow, It's more organic. Name the state. Start it right where it fits the best. I'm gonna begin the mutilation process. Starting to curve this piece of flat steel, and it's putting a lot of stress in the panel, which is gonna make it super strong. You're gonna need that rigidity for space travel. Seen some craft come apart at Mach 6. It's a messy scenario. I took my time, did all the welding, fabbed out the whole rear corners, and it's almost time for Mr. Cacio to take over on this creation. I love the fins and the taillights, but looking at the center section, it's just kind of mute. Time's a-wasting, it's running out. What's my last call on the look of the back of this car? I think I got one more idea. Two of the things I saved were from a Cadillac. I don't know what year that is, but that's definitely in the front grille. You got all these little chrome bullet shapes, and man, maybe Frenched in a bit, a little in, a little out, just a big oval opening. With this insert, it'll be functional and look pretty spacey. It's like that 13-year-old kid with braces, right? I'm thinking, man, the Zephyr hood classed this thing up so much. Wouldn't a little bit of Cadillac in the back look good? Now let's put this wire to hold it as a reference, but that's kind of the look. This really added to it. Now the deck lid has some dimension to it. It's like an alien face. It's pretty weird. That was the last major aesthetic change. We're still working on some concepts for the windshield and dashboard. I think the momentum is building. This car at this point, as wild as it looks, it's still a blank slate. Once it gets into Victor's hands, all bets are off. The only thing I can say for sure is that we're not sure where it's gonna go from here. Let the dice roll. Victor called me down to the Cacio residence talking about change. Business as usual with this guy, always hustling.
Check this out, Ian. I might need a few more slight enhancements.
Yeah, as usual. Wait, what? Wow. Whoa. Talk about a jaw-dropper moment. I'm just like, wow. I'm expecting a car in the middle of some kind of crisis. This thing is awesome. Holy moly, you've been a little busy.
I slightly changed a few things.
I can see the changes. It's orange now.
You wanted a cheese biscuit, you got it.
It's done. It's finished. It's beautiful. It's even orange, like sharp cheddar. I love how you changed the fins, because you kept saying the grill looked like an angry rat with the ears sticking up in the fins or something, but this totally fixed it. One major change in the back was the taillights are disappeared. He rounded off, and I gotta say, good call, man. It looks smooth.
It defines its own look, right? I mean, tell me when you've ever seen that before.
Never. It looks great. I just wondered, what are you gonna do for taillights?
I got taillights. I'll never live that down. Everywhere I go, where the taillight. Stay there. I don't want to take that heat anymore. taillights.
Oh, right on. Stealth mode. I think the car is a little bit of everything. It's futuristic, it's definitely got street rod vibes. The classic panel shapes of the old cars we used are represented, so it's kind of a mashup. It's its own thing. Victor fires it up and tells me to jump in, and I'm like, where? There's no room in this thing. This thing's right out of the garage, so he's like, hey, let's go up to the park, do a few laps, see how it feels, you know, see if the tires are gonna fall off. My first ride in a Roadster just sealed the deal for me. It's like a chopper with 4 wheels, and you got the same vibe in this car. It's very light. The arrangement of the chassis allows a guy 6'2" like me, I can put my legs way up in the front of the car. There's tons of leg room. You're right on the road. It's loud as heck. It's super fun. Temps in the high 90s. The breeze is just right. There's many ways to start a new project. You got a lot of considerations, a lot of thoughts. But you know, out here in the desert, I feel like all you really need is a couple good car parts and a dream. You know me, you know I got parts laying around. It's just a matter of time till I start seeing configurations and possibilities. I gotta say, this is a pretty non-traditional horse ranch we got, so why not build a non-traditional Roadster? It's a fiberglass body. It's already non-traditional, right? In my eyes, anything goes. I'm thinking about a hot rod Roadster for the desert. Water. Water. Got a little body, got a little chassis, and I got an engine. This fine piece of Americana. Some folks say it's a 360, some folks say it's a 390. Universal agreement is it's a Ford FE engine from 1975. What do I know? It has some cool valve covers, so I bought it. What can I say? I like sparkly things. I mean, big old valve covers, sold. Next on the list of parts is this gem. 1991 Ford Ranger chassis, 2-wheel drive. It's got this twin I-beam front suspension, really strong. They make awesome pre-runners. The rear suspension is soft. They ride great out in the Wild West. The 3 Fs, Ford, Ford, and Ford. Like most of my great ideas, it's not as easy as just putting together a puzzle. Body's definitely not designed to fit this chassis, and for me, of course, it's all about the look. Like, the wheelbase is radically different. I mean, this is a pretty noodly looking chassis here. It's all over the place. I mean, look at this roller coaster effect. I don't know where they came up with that or why. When you look at the Model A or T, it looks like a ladder. That doesn't bother me. I'm gonna put this body on, start making adjustments. That's the essence of hot rodding, right? Just do what you can with the stuff you got lying around. Well, the chassis is not too wide. Look how the wheel arch is so far away from where the tire is. Problem number 1. It looks like the body's got to be sitting somewhere in that orientation. The wheelbase looks extremely long as well. You could see how much the chassis is hanging out of the back end of this rig. One of my main challenges at this point is to not cut the chassis. I don't want to disrupt the geometry of the way this thing was built from the factory. I gotta find a way to make it look good in stock form. Well, we know the body don't fit. Let's see how bad the engine mashup is. This truck would have a V6 or a 4-cylinder in it, and I'm stuffing a big old Ford engine in it. That's all about the mock-up stage, right? Just keeping an open mind. We're just kind of stacking parts as usual. So the stock engine would want to fit here, where this little cross member is. What if we took the engine, moved it rearward, and dropped it down so that it would be straddling that cross member back to the firewall, like it should be in a Roadster. And then you got the look of the hot rod with the tires out front, no? Not looking at the chassis, I'm just looking at this. Body and the engine have to look good together. I'm not looking at the front of the chassis or the rear of the chassis. It looks good. But I'm thinking, what if I left the body up in the back and raked it even more in the front? Like, what if I took some off of the nose of this thing and just dropped it down? And what if it sat on the car like that, but lower? Starting to get a little funky attitude right there. Yeah, I'll put the valve covers up here. That's what you want to see too. I think I just made up your mind. By cutting this back, like this body line, look, it would kind of transfer into this a little bit better. See, they're not perfectly parallel, but they're definitely more in agreement than they were. That way this just kind of rolls off and it shows the frame. I'll throw the dice, commit, and cut. Ooh. Maybe we drop the engine a little. I love the valve covers being up like that. This makes the engine look so much more pronounced. This is what I was hoping for, you know, just one quick move and that sets the whole project in motion. The last thing I had was this cool grill. You know what I'm saying? Something in this area, I don't know. This is gonna have some kind of off-road tires. You think I got everything in order before I start the project? Heck no. This is just the mock-up phase. We're on our way. All that's left to do is everything. Typical business at Rancho Russello. What this thing needs next is a little TLC, a little tender loving cutting. Got some ideas. We've got our initial mock-up in place. Now it's time to bring some envisioning to life. My favorite pastime. This is where I want the body to land for here, ever after. I'm really not happy with seeing this trailer hitch and all this cross member stuff. I'm gonna put a roll cage in it, but firstly, I wanna get rid of this rear cross member and replace it with a round tube. It'll look a little bit more race truck. The whole idea here is to make it appear like with a hot rod, you know, pretty much the tires are the main statement, not a bunch of extra stuff. You know, a truck would have bumpers, a tow hitch, none of that on this rig. Chassis rails are gonna stay because they're supporting the leaf spring perches. I'm gonna make the tube frame first and then cut all this out. For this part of the project and the rest of all the tubing fabrication, I'm using 1.5" with 1/8" inch wall round tube. Probably not the stoutest choice for a serious off-road machine, but for this desert cruiser, it'll be perfect. The thing about off-road vehicles is like the functionality, these tube structures, that's the aesthetic. These things get tricked out. Some look super techy and some are more artsy. Mine would be more artsy, still looking techy. Yeah, see, that already looks more like a desert vehicle. Just a little spreader, put some support. In the words of every great welder, that ain't going nowhere. That looks a little more off-road appropriate. I really want to carry this aesthetic of the fabricated tube look through the entire project. That's really kind of the key to this off-road appearance. It's got to perform in the desert, it's got to look cool. So I got to thinking, Self, if you could build any kind of roll cage for this car, you wouldn't really follow the perfect CAD design of the ultimate structure, right? And I said, yeah, that's right. So why don't we curve some tubes to match the back of the car? So I did, and here it is. It has the potential to follow in the back of that car, does it not? But it'll also add something, the funk factor. So they don't turn down, they turn to wherever they land on the rear hoop, like that. So we spliced it with a straight shot. Does that look weird to you? Looks pretty weird to me. Let's carry on. In a perfect hot rod world, you'd have a chop top, right? But this isn't that type of thing. Headroom is gonna matter. Most of the time, it's all about the look, right? Like, I don't care if I'm crunched in there like a monster. But if you've been off-road and ever had the roll bar banging against your head for the entire ride, you change your mind about things. Principal factor in this look, because you think of a hot rod, chopped, channeled, lowered. This thing is pretty tall, and the roof, it looks to fit me, is gonna be even taller. Dang it. Why'd mama make me so tall? Can't even build a cool dune buggy. I mean, that's fun buggy style for sure, but I don't know. I want to get the rest of the cage structure in place and then see how it feels. So these little cuts here are called fish mouths because that's why. The whole idea here is it's adjustable. Right now, these little fish mouths will allow these bars to pivot, so just kind of centering some stuff. Once you start climbing in, and you're 6'2", so you can see this, right? It looks a little awkward, but this is me sitting right on the chassis, no seat. So what might help put it in proportion more, so maybe it doesn't look like it just has a big box stuck on top, is the rear bars. That's sort of what I was seeing back here. But the question is, where this doesn't just turn down to here, this is gonna come as a straight shot back to there. This is where the old duct tape helping hand comes in. So see, that's gonna hit there. Yeah, I could see that working. That steering box is definitely a permanent install. We're gonna work around it. Oh yeah. Looks like a hood line now, albeit a long hood. At least it has some kind of a flow. Before I get the front part of the cage welded, I want to get the engine in. The positioning of the engine is pretty critical. This is what I was really trying to show off. Get that. I mean, these valve covers, they're not going to be yellow in the end, obviously, but let me express my enthusiasm. I love the way that the valve covers are showing above the cage. It's got like an aggressive look, so I'm pretty charged up. It's all about flavor, right? It's time to get the old spice rack out, get to work. Just getting these tubes in place is really helping me with the proportion. You know, the roof height was a real problem for me, but now seeing this long stretched out front, you know, gives the tube chassis a little more proportion, I think. The rake being transferred down to the hood, it all looks like it's in alignment. The thing that's bugging me proportion-wise are these puny little trailer tires. When it comes to options for tires and wheel style, sky's the limit as usual. Is it a sand car? Will it have paddles and skinny tires on the front? Is it a monster truck, you know, with the huge 44-inch tires? I was like, this thing is looking pretty functional. Definitely needs something with tread, something meaty looking. But I thought that something like this would be best. Yeah, I saw an ad for these babies, and it just seemed right. They're 35 by 12.5. On these centerline style wheels, so you could really see the difference between these guys and the 14-inch trailer units. Yeah, look at that. That's quite a bit larger. When I saw these tires, I knew they were just the right thing. The first thing it made me think of is one of those RC cars that are like so capable, you know, jumping and going over everything. Even though it's a hot rod, the big and little combo isn't really what I'm thinking for the desert. That beefs it up a bit. Oh yeah, this changes the proportion issue like 100%. All of a sudden, it looks like it should be this way. That's what I was looking for, even though I didn't know what I was looking for. But I do want something coming across. Right now, the steering box is the front bumper, and that's not a good thing. So I'm gonna at least want a couple tubes to protect that. Set this down here. Boom, steering box is out the way. I'll just come in with another one. Just set back just a little bit, give it a little motion. Yeah, but that grill is definitely too tall. I like it sitting there. Roughly 39, 41. That means we have to take 2 inches off. What I liked first and foremost when I saw it was I couldn't identify it. It's almost like a 32 Ford grill shell, but it's much pointier. Not too much, not too little. So I'm gonna make an insert out of this stuff. Every time I see one of these bottoms for the old-fashioned house screen doors, you know, you would see it was just like this little mesh down here, and then it was like regular screen. They just got all different styles, so I just pick them up every time I see one. Sweet. Yeah, so I don't know what that'll have long-term, if it'll have maybe another screen behind it, just to give it a little more, you know, effect of a surface. But that's a cool little different kind of a grill. The primary thing in this whole front arrangement is that it looks complete. Now it's like, okay, tube chassis vehicle. It's got the Model T roadster body and it's got the T-style grille shell. And the cool factor for me is that you got this really sturdy now welded grille shell, and like the bottom of the opening is the Ranger chassis. So looking at it from the front, from the back, yes, I think we can live with that. But I think visually it would just help out these linear tubes. I'd like to see something that I can step on. It's gonna be a monster to get into this thing. We're gonna be like trying to get in over the edge of a swimming pool here. Why not a sidebar? It's like a brush guard, you know, something that would keep things out of those tires. See, now you got these tubes and they're all tubing around, doing tube things. Sometimes, as they say, you gotta just keep tubing until the tubing's done. So yeah, this little sidebar action, you know, it looks tubular like the rest of it, but more so it's a step, right? So you're just getting into the cockpit. So it's gonna be easy. Now that we have our structure structuralized, it's time to get some mechanics in place so we can get this buggy down the trail. The next two necessities for this thing to operate are fuel and a radiator. I picked this guy up online, and I had this left over from another project, which is perfect. This cooled a big block Chevy engine, no problem. So I had made a shroud with a big electric fan that operates just fine with this radiator. So it's basically brand new, but repurposed. I know I'm gonna put the gas tank down here underneath. So this bar is gonna come across here to support the tank. And I'm gonna have to notch into the body a little bit. All right, I'll give that up, right? You see those race cars with like the parachute on the back, it's a little box on the back of the car. Fine, I got a box on the back of the car. The second thing, where does the radiator go back here? I've seen buggies, trucks, where they'll mount them on this bar here, kind of angled. Ultimately, it comes down to the look. I don't want a big aluminum panel up here with a fan showing. There's gonna be airflow right through here. So I was thinking about getting this radiator mounted somewhere in the body with some sort of duct or something. First thing I wanna do is just get this gas tank in. Bottom line here is it comes down to function, right? It's gotta look good, and it's gotta work. But primarily for me, it's gotta look good. Yeah, it gives it a little bit of that junk in the trunk look. I like it, it works good. The next thing is that radiator. That's where the plot thickens. The body lines on the Model T, they're very petite, so to speak, and the radiator I'm choosing is very large, so therein lies the mashup. Can't put the radiator in front, that's a challenge. I kind of see the radiator sitting in the body, but I want to open the body a bit so that it can get a lot of air, obviously. Cutting like what you would see for a rumble seat, like this used to be a lid, and then maybe we can push this down a little bit to expose the radiator more, or maybe we just cut it out as if it was just an open panel. Just in thinking about hot rods and old Fords, I'm like, man, maybe like the Model A style where there was a rumble seat in the back, maybe make an open area where there could have been a lid and sink the radiator in there. Yeah, look at that. That's the sound of success. Right? Now, does that not look like a port of cooling air potential? I like it already. So what I was thinking is if I could get this thing in the body, you wouldn't have to see a heck of a lot of it. Aesthetically, sticking up, not so good. So if I trim out some of this material, I'm able to lay that back. The surface area is still there, it's just reclined, kind of like what you'll see like in the front of a Corvette. In my world, everything's up for the slice and dice. I mean, if the radiator doesn't fit, all we have is a giant hole in the back of the car. Yeah, that's getting close. So you see now that radiator is just direct, right to the atmosphere. This is exactly what I was envisioning. You know, the radiator's tucked in, you got the feeling of there could be a rumble seat in there. Thinking about the mix of like a hot rod and a desert vehicle, you know, this has the look we're going for, but I got one more idea for the deck lid area. So let's see if we were to do another one, and at about that. distance, I think. This is just something I've seen in race cars to lighten them, etc. But I'm like, I need some airflow. It'll help come down into the radiator and out the back of the car. So it kind of looks more racy and it works to move the air. Heck yeah, that's looking more like it now. The old Swiss cheese effect. I gotta say, I'm pretty relieved. It's a pretty unorthodox approach, but I think it's gonna work. So for the next thing, aesthetics-wise and function-wise, of course, is the intake and the exhaust, you know, like how's it breathe? That's always a huge part of the character of a machine as well. And I got a couple ideas. Something old, something new. Anybody in there? I made some progress on getting the engine squared away, and I'm inching towards that first run down the desert. It's got a new alternator, fuel pump, starter, and I got a new carburetor for it too. It gives it a little flair. Then I got to thinking, I had this thing laying in the back of the shop for quite a while. Does it have a blower? No. But does it have the look? Uh-huh. So it has an air filter that goes in there, but come on, look at that, right? It gives it that vibe, right? If weird is what you are seeking, you've come to the right place. I got some exhaust headers with this engine. They're Hedman headers. They're perfectly usable. They're just dirty. They got some rust, but I mean, that's par for the course. So you can see the way that that comes out. This chassis, 100% in the way. I mean, does it look kind of cool hanging outside the rig? Yeah, it does. And it's like, well, what if we just did this? What if we put it up into the back? That's pretty wild looking. Like, I love the bottom end of these. You never even see this because this is under the vehicle all the time. So it's got like that cool twisty tubey effect. Yeah, I think I want to get a couple bolts and just put these on, see how they look. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Stranger things have happened, right? Yeah, that's just weird enough to sell it for me. Like a bat. What are you gonna do, run a pipe out here that you have to climb over when you get in and out of the car? I don't think so. What I do think is those like sprint cars, they run these little mini mufflers, so it's like a header dump right now exhaust. Yeah, look at this. Basically, you know, it makes it legal for the track. It's just the simplest of simple baffles. I was like, man, that looks pretty like industrial strength. It's all business. So, I mean, if I cut this back, shorten it up as much as possible, why not, right? Is it gonna be loud? Yeah. So I'm gonna cut the end of this off and see what it looks like. Weld that right on. Perfect harmony with everything else that I've built. It looks way faster than it actually is, so that's a bonus. Definitely like, whoa, is it a race car? Is it a jalopy? What's going on here? What's it gonna look like in the end? I don't know. This cage has a pretty strong presence. The T Roadster has sort of faded away. It's its own thing now. You know me, as usual, I got a couple ideas. I have a few more final details to attend to in the upholstery department, but we're getting there. I can almost taste the sand in my teeth. I just did a quick scuff with Scotch-Brite and just flat black and the whole thing. Fuel cell, chassis, engine. The headers are coated with a high heat. I think it's starting to look a little bit better. We're at the critical point. Got all the busy work attended to. Now we got a blank canvas. What's next? I'm not one of the great painters in the world for sure, but I've done some stuff. My style is basically simple, so I'm gonna keep this with a spray can finish. Well, is it racing inspired? Is it cartoon inspired? I think so. I think I want to bring a little bit of Roadster hot rod back into the equation. That's weird. That's weird enough to be a keeper. Checking this out, it's like, yeah, it gives you a feeling of motion. The body was pretty boring, just this matte black shape. So this little graphic really spices it up. What I'm thinking is a border on the silver. Gives a nice little frame surrounding that. I have a plethora of options here. I've got some pink, got some blue, and I could go wild with it. Look at that pearl. Oh, that could really take it over the top, huh? I got options, I got spray cans. We'll see what develops. I mean, anything can happen. And then we ride. Out here in the desert, you need a vehicle for every occasion. This one is for pure fun. This desert hot rod is ready for its maiden voyage. Got the paint set up, very simple, bold graphic. This thing's gonna get nicked up, scratched up, scuffed up, so it gives it some flavor. I felt mostly like it really works with the exhaust. It's pretty dramatic. Sort of like an old race car would have, you know, something pretty primitive, but flashy. I was gonna put that blower on the engine, but I felt like it was just too much. While it did look really aggressive, I thought it might just kind of cause some stress. This thing's gonna be bouncing around a lot, and the last thing I want is a big bobblehead on top of the engine. I got these KC daylighters. They're the real deal. They got the KC logo right on the glass. I like old school. The wheel and tire combo really gives this thing an aggressive look. Dog bed upholstered seat, and what more does a man need? Proportions for me were always the issue with this. Getting the roll bar in place and the length of it, like it works, but it's still super cramped inside. I barely fit. I put the steering outside the body. It steers perfect. 2 universal joints, right to the Ranger steering box. It's ready to go. Seeing the car out here, you know, the graphic and the look of it, it works for me. It is the toy that I always build, right? So it fits like that. It looks like it could be a small little scale model. It's got the look, right? It's definitely a cartoon machine. There are a million ways to go off-roading. I just happen to like the weird stuff. Yeah, my friend Crafty B, he does aluminum casting. He's like, oh man, I got just the badge for that ride. This car fits right in my mental state. It's got the weird mashup of parts. It's got the weird exhaust, weird artwork, a little bit of a weird roll cage. Let's roll. This rig is perfect for this environment. You know, it was built exactly for this terrain. It's gotta be able to take the rough stuff. It is excessively hot and it is brutally bumpy. So for a machine to hold together out here, it's gotta hold up to those demands. The Ranger chassis just sucks up these ruts. The manual transmission spins these tires like nobody's business. I mean, this engine I think was the optimal choice. It's got bottom end torque for days. I mean, how much more fun than that do you need? I call that a success. Feels good. It's exactly what I needed to ride around in out here. I don't know, something just struck me. I think I might have met my soulmate. This is how it's meant to look. That's why I didn't want to get crazy with the paint job. It's supposed to look dirty and desertified. I mean, dude would definitely appreciate this. Even after being out here for the whole shakedown run, this project still doesn't have a name. Definitely has something to do with dirt. I'll give it that. I gotta say, I need some chapstick and an ice-cold adult beverage after all that. What a day. It's time to have a little more fun.